I have with me Mr. Isaac Anumudu, who is a legal practitioner. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you for having me.
Just quickly, what was the thinking when you heard that the EFCC had another cash haul, this time around about $43.3 million, 27,000 pounds, and some huge amounts in Naira as well?
Three things occurred to me instantly. One, it reaffirmed the vantage of the whistleblowers policy. It's very welcome policy. It's a policy that from onset, you know that if it's properly codified, properly implemented, the whistleblower well secured and properly remunerated, it will lead definitely to genuine recoveries of looted funds. So that was the first impression I had, to commend the government for initiating this whistleblowers policy and to encourage the government to pursue it to logical conclusion by these things I've mentioned: codification, motivation, security, and all of that, and adequate remuneration. But instantaneously, or would I say simultaneously and contemporaneously, it occurred to me also that, wait a minute, are these real? These recoveries, are they real? Why now? Why the timing?
So you had a doubt in your mind?
Instantly, I had a circumspection and immense trepidation because of the timing and the circumstance I'm just going to summarize to you right now. First of all, you look at the recoveries, the way and manner they came. There's a whistleblowing, 49 million in Kaduna Airport. How come someone would carry that humongous amount of money in Naira, not in dollars, to an airport? Which right-thinking person will do that with all the, tribe of security at the airport? It didn't look normal. And by the way, why did this whistleblower identify and was able to blow whistle as to where the fund is without information as to who dropped the money, how it got there? And up to today, there's been no mention about all that critical, important detail that would legitimize and validate that whistleblower information, so to speak. How come monies are now being recovered in Balogun market? What do you expect to find in a big market like Balogun market, where there are wholesale dealers who run, outflow of millions of naira daily? And you tell me you find millions of naira in Balogun market. What did you expect to find in Balogun market in the first place? And then you tell me you found millions of dollars in a bureau de change. Wait a minute. What do they sell in bureau de change? Pure water? Vegetable? Cosmetics? Provisions? No. What goes on in bureau de change is exchange of all forms of currency. Dollar, naira, euro, pound. So telling me you found
So
that,
hold on. You say you're worried about the timing.
Well, I'll come to the timing, but I'm just telling you the incongruity in all of this now. Okay. You found that amount of money. You didn't tell us how that became illegal. You didn't tell us who you were pursuing, what lead you were pursuing that led you to finding that kind of money, such that you now suspect it was money gotten from corrupt practices in this and this area.
But somebody blew the whistle. I mean, if all of this came out from whistleblowing.
That's what I'm saying. So what whistle are you blowing? If you whistle that you found law books in my office as a lawyer, wait a minute. Am I communicating? There's nothing illegal in finding money in a bureau de change, in finding dollar, euro, pounds.
We'll talk about the circumstances under which that was found, but I want you to focus a bit more on this. You're trying to link it to the find in this in the Osborne Towers.
Yes.
You said three things ran through your mind. You've talked about the first one, the whistleblowing policy.
Yes.
You've talked about, you said, the timing.
The timing that raised heightened circumspection and trepidation. And then the third issue is, again, wait a minute, motive. Is somebody trying to make it look as if I'm walking so that I'll be kept in this position? That was why some of us vociferously asked for the immediate resignation of Ibrahim Magu, the very moment the Senate rejected him the second time. In fact, we were shocked, and most Nigerians are shocked. It's just that not many Nigerians are vocal. Most Nigerians, majority, are shocked that Magu walked back to FCC office that day. He was expected to go straight home from the Senate chambers after he was rejected. The reason is because, agreed as some people are arguing, that he was appointed by the president under section 171 of the Constitution. That is correct. The president has powers to appoint him. But the moment the president sent his name to the Senate, the president, by his own action, activated section 2, subsection 3 of the EFCC Act that says that the president shall appoint subject to the confirmation of the Senate. And once the Senate rejects you, that is the end of every chairmanship, whether acting or whatever, because at that point the acting capacity has expired, and the president has voluntarily extinguished it by sending his name to the Senate. And I hear some argument, with all due respect, from some senior lawyers who I have a lot of respect, saying that the EFCC Act suddenly, simply because of Magu, has now become inconsistent with the Constitution and should therefore be declared void. That argument holds no water. That argument is completely illegal, because the law that talks about inconsistency is Section 1, subsection 3 of the Constitution, which says that the Constitution shall be supreme to every other law, and any other law that is inconsistent with this Constitution shall be void to the extent of the inconsistency with this Constitution having supremacy. Now, the EFCC Act is not inconsistent with the Constitution, but rather complementary to the Constitution. The EFCC Act did not say that the president shall not appoint the EFCC chairman. Okay. If this act said so, it would have been inconsistent. But it only said the way and manner that chairman will be appointed. In other words, it was meant to fill a lacuna in the law. This is very important, because if we don't get this, this is the foundation. If you build a house on a wrong foundation, that house will collapse. As beautiful as the whistleblowers policy is, as important to fighting corruption, it will be implemented by an agency, which is the EFCC. And if that agency is, like the last speaker said, already jaundiced, Nigerians will have no confidence. Take, for example...
Mr. Numero, I'm going to ask you to just,
yes,
calm down a bit, and then let's talk about, because you already said that, the fact that Mr. Mago went back to the EFCC raises questions for you, and you think that maybe that could also be a link to why we're suddenly finding lots of cash holes. Otherwise, one might say that the thoughts in your mind, the three immediate thoughts that came to your mind after the monies were discovered, were they contradictory, or can we say that they're contradictory? Because on the one hand, you felt immediately that a whistleblower policy was working.
Beautiful.
On the other hand, you also questioned why it is that this sudden holes are being found in different parts of the country. And then you also said, you questioned, could this be that somebody is trying to show somewhere?
No, it's not contradictory.
You don't think
no, it's rather raises a very important point that Nigerians are very interested in. See, you don't throw away the baby with the bathwater. I'm aware that there are some people who are unrepentant critics of a particular government, and if they're criticizing, they don't say anything good in the government. That's wrong. That's not how to build a society. That's not how to be a statesman. If the government has done something good, you should be able to be honest to appreciate it. Look, we didn't have whistleblowers policy before now, and it's a very good innovation. Call a spade a spade. We must commend the government for that. But we are saying that the strange developments we've seen in recent past has now suddenly taking us back to the foundation of the war against corruption. Who midwives this war? Because
but isn't that the reason why the whistleblower policy was, brought up in the very first instance? Because if you think about the fact that they talk about monies that government otherwise would not have known about, and we found that these monies are being found in strange places. I mean, you just talked about monies that were found in the Bureau de Change. We understand that the Bureau de Change had been locked down for over 2 years, had not been in use, and somebody had left that huge amount of money. Is it 450 million naira or $450 million just left somewhere? It does raise questions, doesn't it? And then you find $250 million in Balogun, 250 million naira in Balogun market in hard currency. Shouldn't we ask questions as to how these kinds of monies are just, in cash? And then the third one, this cash hole that was found in the Osborne Towers. Should we not be asking questions as to how $49 million can be in one flat, doing nothing for the economy?
But we should ask those questions. But like the last speaker said, Barrister Cage, we must be careful to know what we are going after. We're going after corruption. We're not going after monies. And let's be careful not to create a wrong psyche in Nigerians. In all our religions, it is not a sin to be rich. Let's be careful not to create the impression that poverty is consistent with uprightness. Let's be careful. Let's not begin to create the impression that will make someone start looking at an Adenuga and a Dangote as corrupt just because they are rich. Let's not do anything that will discourage the young ones from aspiring to work hard to make wealth. If finding wealth with you automatically makes you look corrupt, in quote. That's why the last speaker was saying, EFCC should be proactive, thorough. It is the fact that you have money becomes a crime if you got it illegally, or if the source of the money cannot be explained. But if the mere fact that you now have money or you got money, which without investigation, without being sure that that money is there wrongly, you are immediately arrested. You are immediately vilified before the investigation starts.